As you can see, we're dressed in official. That means we mean business. We're very serious over here. So, hi, welcome and welcome back to our spot where we chill and vibe and the like. I've not said that in a minute. I miss that so much. I couldn't even give you a hug right now. No, we're serious today. I have been having a segment on Instagram and TikTok that I like to call the classes in session, where really, you know, the funny thing is I never even introduced it to the people. I just started with the topics and I moved on and I pretended everyone knows what I'm doing. But really, it's just a segment where I am able to share little bits of education from my nerdy little heart to yours, you know? Thank you. Actually, you're welcome. Yeah. So today, I wanted to speak about, you have already seen from the title, but I wanted to speak about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how it pertains to the quality of life. It's a quite simple concept. So let's just get into it. Let's get into it. The logical thing would be to just start by describing or like breaking down the statement or the topic that I have picked. And it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how it pertains to the quality of life. So let's start with Maslow. You may be, hey, this is the time to unastata sai. You may have seen the title and you are just like, I don't know who this man is. Like, Maslow, who the hell is that? He could be walking down the street. I would never know a thing. Sorry to this man. So I will let you know. I'll give you a bit of information. Then you can always continue to like find out more about him. So Maslow is Abraham Maslow, who is one of the founders of humanistic psychology. When we talk about psychology, really, it's just us studying human behavior and mental processes. So we are really just trying to describe or understand why people think the way they do or why they act the way they do. You might be wondering, why do we have different subfields of psychology? And it's because people had different approaches to coming up with an explanation of why people act the way they do. So I can just mention but a few with my trusty notebook over here. I can mention but a few. The first one is behavioral, which is really just going to say that our environment affects the way that we behave. And then we have cognitive, which is about mental processes and how we learn, how we remember. Remember, again, part of psychology is learning about the mental processes. All right. We have psychodynamic. This is where we have the funny guy called Sigmund Freud, but we will talk about him another day. This is when we're talking about how unconscious thoughts, our early experiences, and what else is in here, our emotions as well, affect how we act. Then we have sociocultural or sociocultural, depending on how you pronounce it, that really just goes to say that the culture that we are brought up in or the society that we live in is what dictates how we end up being. And then now we have humanistic, which is where we are at today, which is what we're going to focus on today, where we'll literally just talk about personal growth and free will and being able to achieve one's full potential. So the people or the founders or the scholars in humanistic psychology just go to say that actually the reason why we act the way we do is because we are trying to achieve what? The goals that we have for ourselves. Is because we have free will. Is because we want to like reach our full potential. So yeah, that's Abraham Maslow. And the thing that I always think when I think of this guy is he is like, or really just humanistic psychology as a whole, is they really are like the fun uncles in the family, you know, because as you have heard from the definitions of the previous subfield, everyone is also serious. Someone is like unconscious thoughts, others are like, oh, behavior is because of the genes, another one is like, oh, behavior is because of society. Like everyone is so serious. And then humanistic psychology people just come in and be like, no, it's so good, it's so chill, we're chilling over here. Like we act the way we do because of our free will, because we want to achieve, you know, because we want to be the best people that we can be. Tell me that's not wholesome. Truly, tell me that is not. It's just the best. It's really just the best. So yeah, that's Abraham Maslow. And then let's move to the next part of the title, which is hierarchy. Hierarchy is really just levels. You know, there are levels to a certain thing, right? We all know what needs are. And how it pertains to the quality of life. Let's talk about quality of life. So again, back to my trusty notebook. Quality of life is really just about our overall well-being. So here, what I'm trying to do in this whole video is, how does this man's hierarchy of needs, how does his pyramid affect our overall well-being? Or are they like incongruent? Or, you know, do they make sense together? So there are different aspects. And again, I had my whiteboard for this, but don't judge the handwriting. We're gonna... Actually, you can't read it. Okay, I'll read it for you. Whew. I really thought you could read it. But yeah, when we talk about overall well-being, we have the physical one, which is where we're talking about health. about exercising, about having enough rest, about dieting, taking care of your physical health, right? Then we have the psychological, where we have now the mental health. We also have emotional stability, we have self-esteem and purpose, all right? So that's physical and that's psychological. Then we come to social. This is where, how do you relate with people? Gonna friends. Do you have friends? How do you relate with people, whether it's like family or friends or just society as a whole? And then economic, that's where you have the proper living conditions. So you have financial stability, and also like having a work-life balance. Then you come to spiritual, where matters of faith. This is just matters of faith and also being able to have meaning and purpose in life, because it looks very different for people with different religions. There are different definitions of what is your purpose in this life. Actually, with different religions or lack thereof, there are different definitions of purpose and why you're here. Why do you think you exist? Then we have freedom and personal growth. So this is all just adding up to the, again, overall well-being: physical, social, psychological, economic, spiritual, and freedom and personal growth. So coming back to Maslow, we are going to dive deeper into his hierarchy of needs so that we can come to see where does it connect with these 5 or more aspects in our lives. Okay, so let's move on to that. So when it comes to the physiological needs, Abraham Maslow is talking about how we need to achieve this first, which is where we have the basic needs amongst others. The basic needs are the food, shelter, and warmth, and then there are others that I can add to the screen. Okay, so this is really just the lowest level that we need to achieve first. Remember, we are talking about what motivates human behavior. So we're going to act, or you will wake up in the morning to go and look for a job, or go to the job that you don't necessarily like, because you need the money to be able to do what? To achieve the basic needs, to be able to keep a roof over your head, to be able to eat, to be able to have warmth, that is the clothing, And then we have safety and security. This is where we have literally the physical safety, for one, where you don't have to leave your house and you're just thinking, I'm in the ghetto, ratatata, like anything could happen, It's about being able to be like in a safe neighborhood. It's about also financial stability, where again, that's the thing. That's why I was saying when it comes to hierarchy, it's literally tiers. It's levels to it. Yes, you have eaten, but do you have the money to eat tomorrow? Kind of thing. So that's why that one is above the food. You've already achieved the food, but also you're going to start thinking, okay, so what about tomorrow? Am I still able to get that? And then we also have physical safety. And then we also have even just the health insurance, being able to know that you're, healthy enough to be able to go about your day and go about your things as you would want to. Yes. That is safety and security. We move on to the third tier, because it keeps on going. The more you achieve things, the more you want others. Because again, that's just that's literally just the human nature. You get one and then you start thinking, actually we could start thinking of other things. So this is where we have love and belonging. That's number 3. Love and belonging is where now we have the family, the friends and the community. It's, do I feel like I have a place in my family? Do I feel like I am loved? Do I feel like I belong? It's feeling or knowing that even in your friend group, you have a spot. You're not just always an afterthought, like they're telling you, oh, you can come if you want. No, I want you to invite me. Not to tell me that, whether you're there or not, it really makes no difference. Like, you want to feel like you belong, like you have a place in the 3 minis, where it's the family, the friends, and the society at large. All right. We are cruising nicely. Then we have self-esteem. Self-esteem is where we have self-confidence. It's knowing that I can do it. It's being able to know that I am capable of doing the things that I want to. And it's also having respect. It's having respect for yourself and being respected as well. And finally, what else do we have in self-esteem? Self-efficacy is the belief that I have something to offer. I am bringing something to the table, to this theoretical table that is always brought up. I am bringing something to the table. And then when we move from self-confidence, okay, let's say you have gotten food, shelter, and warmth amongst the others in the physiological, and then you've come up and you're like, okay, I'm in a safe neighborhood, all right, I'm healthy, great, all right, my family loves me, my friends love me, okay, I have things to offer and I like myself, that's very important, and I'm confident in myself. All right, now we come to the last tier. This is called self-actualization. This one right here, as you can see, I hope you can see. Yeah. So with self-actualization is where we're talking about self-growth. All right. It's about being able to, I mean, you have had this a lot of times with the wellness kind of content, where it's like be the best version of yourself. You know, you literally you're trying to conquer yourself. All of that. That is what self-actualization is about. It's being able to achieve your goals. It's being able to, in using TikTok lingo, it's being your own final boss. You follow? You follow? But yeah, it's being able to literally just achieve everything that you have always wanted to achieve. And yani too, that's why it's at the peak. It's reaching that peak. Okay? So that is Abraham Maslow. The thing about this theory is that it states that you need to move from one, like it's an orderly kind of thing, where you need to move from one tier to another, to another, to another. Like you don't just wake up and jump to the other one. So that's what this theory states. And while I was doing research for this, obviously, with every theory, there's always going to be criticisms around it. And I was like, nah, there's no way they will criticize this man. Like, he is such a wholesome man. Who would want to be against him? And then I opened up the page and, they ripped him a new one. They ripped him a new one. I'm telling you, there were so many criticisms. And I was like, really? Really? He is really just trying to describe our needs, and y'all are out here being like, no, you should. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. Again, that's why it's called a theory, right? So, when we look at the criticisms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the first one is, I picked two. The first one is, needs don't necessarily follow a fixed order, which means that one can pursue a certain need even though they have not achieved the one that is at the bottom. And I don't like the example that they used, because they went ahead to use an example and say, starving artists. And I said, who? Starving artists? Why are you saying we're starving? I'm not starving, are you? That's just me being best. But really, it's the fact that now they use the example and say that starving artists can still want to reach self-actualization, even though the food part, or let's say the financial stability has not been achieved. That means like it does not stop them from dreaming, You may say I'm a dreamer. I really say this when you will be serious. I don't know why I'm joking. But yeah, it really just goes to say that it's not supposed to be like written in stone that just because you have not achieved this one, you cannot want the other one. So that was one criticism. The second one, based on Western values emphasizing individual achievement and self-actualization, there is also the collectivist culture. So that means that like they're really just trying to say that his theory is not very inclusive. It's usually just focusing on the individualistic cultures, because here's the thing, guys. You see, when you come to self-actualization, this is more about self-growth. It has a lot to do with yourself. Although it is one concept, but it may look very different when you start giving examples. Because for other people, self-actualization is being able to have a big family. It's being able to like be accepted in society. It's being able to gel well with the people around them. But when you think of it in an individualistic society, you think of it as getting the cars, getting the house, getting the this, the that, the that. Like it's all about you. But there are societies that value the communism, like the whole communal aspect of it, over being able to achieve big stuff. So yeah, that's what they were saying. That's what they're literally just saying in this point. It's that he was only thinking of it in a you kind of perspective. And we need to do more of, hey, actually, I may not really care about the whole, like, the materialistic things, which are things that have been very emphasized on coming from capitalism, They're very emphasized on, but that doesn't mean that everyone's idea of success is having that. Yeah, like I've said, it's just, people's idea of success are very different, and he needed to acknowledge more of that. So yeah, those are the criticisms of the theory, all right? So far we have defined, we know who Abraham Maslow is, we know what a hierarchy is, we know our needs, and we also know what quality of life looks like. So we can even just take a pause right here and think about it from what you have heard so far. Do you think it makes sense? Do you think that his hierarchy or him listing the needs in a certain orderly manner adds up, or definitely affects our quality of life or our overall well-being? Do you think that? So in conclusion, these are my thoughts. They're really just all the things that I gathered from the research or when I was thinking about this whole title or this whole topic. And the first one is that this theory, despite the criticism that one doesn't have to attain, a certain level to reach the other and the other and the other, it sure does give a holistic perspective of the important things that need to be achieved. And that's very true, because the theory gives a very useful framework, I mean, from all the things that you have mentioned here, I'm sure these are things that you think about on a daily basis, probably even multiple times. You think about food, warmth, and shelter. You think about safety. You think about financial stability. You think about being accepted. It's very much human, right? And we even think about confidence and respect, and we think about being the best versions of ourselves. So it really makes sense. Like, it may not necessarily be like foolproof, like 100%, but he was onto something with that, It's also a reminder that it's not the things that society has emphasized on to be the testament of success, which is what I was saying about the big stuff, the monetary stuff, the material stuff. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. The material stuff. That it's not necessarily about that. Sometimes it's literally because you can be a workaholic, but you have achieved all these things. Now, is that success? That's why I was saying success really looks different for everyone. And the third one is, it's agreeably everyone's goal to live a life that is innately satisfying and meaningful, which is where I would pose this question. What does a meaningful life look like to you? Because like I said, for others, it may be just being able to be accepted in family. For others, it is academic. It's being an academic weapon. For others, it's being able to have a family. For another person, it's being able to be like very spiritually present and to build a very strong spiritual life. It's very different for everyone, right? And it's the fact that it's actually a sad thing that now that now society has like made success to look like one specific thing. And it's become so bad that if in the public eye you have not ticked those boxes, you are not successful. Yeah. Another thought that I was having is how at people's funeral, they'll be like, oh, they lived a full life. What is the definition of a full life to you? When people say that specific person lived a full life, they're trying to mean that maybe academically they did well, economically they were able to have like a financially stable life. They had a social life, they traveled, they saw the world, they got married, their social aspect is catered for, their physical aspect is catered for. So when you talk about a full life, it's literally just being able to have like the overall well-being, like they were able to experience that, to achieve that, and to maintain that. That's why we talk about having a full life. Also, a full life is a multifaceted life. It's different aspects contributing to form into a nice, colorful life. And again, also as I was thinking about this, I was reminded of how we say, first world problems. For example, you can think of a first world problem. What do you have in mind right now? What I have in mind is maybe, for example, hearing some kid complaining about how, oh no, my parents have decided they don't want to get me a car. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm just trying to get the fare to live where I want to go, So it's really just when you talk about first world problems, it's more of like, again, even when it comes to like beauty standards and all, you can see that these are things that are a lot more. Yes, we still have them even in the African countries. We still experience them, but they are a lot more common in the first world countries, where now, you're able to like, okay, now I have these things that I've been catered for. Now I'm thinking about my appearance. So I'm thinking about, do I fit into the beauty standard? Should I do this and that? This is where we start having like the plastic surgery and the cosmetic surgeries and whatnot. Those are more like, in my opinion, like, I stand corrected. In my opinion, those are like the first world problems. And finally, to wrap it all up, this is a call to action to re-examine your life, the areas that could use some improving in order to hit the balance. So the whole point of it all is to just hit the balance. I can see the lighting is... Yeah, the sun is starting to leave. But yeah, it's really just a call to action to just re-examine your life. What does a meaningful life look like to you? Like I had asked before. What do you want for yourself? What do you think is actually the definition of success? What does success look like to you? Because it's very different, and we also need to be okay with that. The fact that what I want may not necessarily be what the next person wants. And that's okay. That's okay. We achieve that where? Self-esteem. Yeah. So it's been lovely. Let me know if you want to see more kinds of videos like this. And yeah, I had to study, I had to read and get the brain gain so that I can speak to you. But I hope that this was beneficial to you. And if it was, of course, the engagement will be amazing. Just leave a like right there. Maybe comment something that you have learned or something that you would want clarification on. Anything, you can leave a comment right there. If you have not subscribed, come on now. Don't be like that. So yeah, till next time. Bye.